Hi-ho, Brandon the Pugilist here, and today I'm starting a new series about the fundamentals of striking. And to start off, we're going to start off with something about as basic as you can get, the punch. This seems like a simple topic. The majority of American men think they know how to throw a punch, think they know how to make a fist. They're not necessarily right, because there's actually different approaches to how to properly make a fist and throw a punch. For example, before the widespread adoption of boxing gloves, back in the days of, say, Victorian bare knuckle boxing, the most common way of making a fist was to make a vertical fist, like so, straight up and down. Um, there were logical reasons for this. Um, Basically, when you have a fist like this and you throw a punch, there's a good chance you could connect with these two main knuckles. These knuckles have the entire forearm behind them. So you have a lot of support, minimizing the risk of actually breaking one of the knuckles. If you end up throwing a punch and hitting a hard target with this knuckle or this knuckle, where there's less to support it, there's a greater chance of getting a fracture. So most bare knuckle boxers punch like this. To this day, people who still compete in bare knuckle boxing tend to punch like this. The vertical punch is sort of a trademark of Wing Chun. You normally see it. That's why Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock Holmes in a movie set in Victorian England but using Wing Chun in his fight sequences is not as unrealistic as it may seem, because bare knuckle boxing actually overlapped quite a bit with Wing Chun in terms of techniques. So, and to this day, you also see Krav Maga. Many schools they use the vertical fist. A good way to get a feel for why the vertical fist is more supportive of the knuckles is down on the ground and try to do some push-ups on your fist. Do it on vertical fist and then do it on horizontal fist. Chances are the horizontal fist push-ups will be painful and not very comfortable. This you'll probably have no problem with. So with the advent of boxing gloves, however, you saw more of what you see nowadays, the horizontal fist, where the fist is horizontal like that. Why is this? Well, because there's always trade-offs. Vertical punches tend not to have as much power as horizontal punches. Part of the reason is the vertical punch versus the horizontal punch, there's more of a integration on the horizontal punch of the entire posterior chain. It brings in more of the lat, more of the rear deltoid, allowing people to punch harder. So with the advent of the gloves, people went away from the vertical style of fist when punching and started integrating what we see now more with the horizontal punch that you see in Western boxing, MMA, pretty much universal. But as I mentioned, again, there's trade-offs. When you throw a horizontal punch and you're not wearing gloves, you get that risk of hitting on these two knuckles, increasing the chance of getting what's commonly known as a boxer's fracture. As I often mention to people, Mike Tyson, at the height of his career, got involved in a street altercation in Harlem and actually broke his hand. And chances are your hand is a lot less strong than Iron Mike Tyson's hand. So there's that risk involved. Yeah, you're going to generate more power, perhaps a greater chance of a knockout, but if you break your hand, then you're going to be in trouble, especially if you have to go in, the other person pulls a knife and you have to go for a disarm. But on the other hand, another advantage of the horizontal fist, besides just hitting harder, you'll notice when I throw a vertical fist, my arm tends to be down here, and especially if I'm doing sort of a Wing Chun chain fist kind of thing. But when I throw a horizontal fist, watch how my shoulder kind of comes up. That's actually providing an extra layer of protection. So here, here. So if a punch comes in here, I'm somewhat protected. As opposed to here, I'm still wide open. So what do? Horizontal fist, vertical fist, which should you practice? Well, both. But a good compromise between the two is slightly rotating the fist as opposed to straight horizontal, straight vertical, have that slight rotation. That will again increase the chances of hitting with these two main knuckles. Like here, might hit here, might even go across these knuckles, which I've seen happen, and totally mess up your fingers. If you go like this, you're still getting that shoulder coming up, you're still getting that power, but you're greatly increasing the chance you're hit with this knuckle, which is a lot more secure because, as I said, it has the entire forearm. You know, occasionally you hear people say things like, oh, the twist causes a vacuum that sucks the person's face into your fist. That's nonsense. I mean, that physics doesn't work that way. So, bottom line, good style of punching to practice, that slight rotation. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't still practice horizontal, though personally I would be more inclined to concentrate on that turned fist as opposed to spending a lot of time with the horizontal. I would, however, keep on working the vertical fist because those still have certain advantages. If you're in the clinch, someone has you in a tie neck clinch and you want to get out, Wing Chun punches to their chin will a lot of times cause them to go back and open up space. Also, if someone has a really good tight defense, the more horizontal turned fist might not make it through. But even like this, those vertical fists can sneak right in. It has a sweet spot. And one thing I've done in sparring, guys like this has a really good defense. I throw a couple of Wing Chun style vertical fists to the chin. They kind of open up, and then I continue with the more curved fist, which has more power. There's no rule that has to say you have to commit to just one type of fist forever. In this video, I didn't talk about palm strikes, so I'll talk about that later. I also didn't go into, I mostly concentrated on just straight punches, the jab and the hook, jab and the cross. I will go into hooks, uppercuts, things like that in a different video. But just to summarize, my best advice to you, if you want to train in making fist and throwing punches that are effective in a street situation and minimizing the risk to your hands, primarily concentrate on throwing that punch, that slight rotation, but also make sure to work in, the vertical fist every so often, just to have those in your arsenal. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Thank you.